welcome back to the Rockies Now podcast. This is an emergency podcast because I know everybody that's jumping on in here in the stream knows that we're going to be talking about some breaking news, Tom and Adam, that broke out a couple hours ago, right after the Rockies won the series finale game against the San Diego Padres after being absolutely embarrassed 21-0 in game two. The Rockies went out and announced that they had fired manager Bud Black and bench coach Mike Redmond. I was surprised they didn't make this signing. Firing after what happened yesterday. But at the same time, though, like I wasn't, I was, I wasn't expecting the Rockies to do anything. Honestly, just based off of what's happened over this year. And the comments made by Bill Schmidt is just like, yeah, the Rockies, they do not care. They do not care. And I was expecting for them to keep on saying what they've been saying for so many years. Like, don't worry, we're going to be okay. We're going to be fine. And we're going to turn this thing around. And, our injured players, they'll be okay. They're going to come back. They're going to be an all-star this year. It's just like, okay. Alrighty. But anyways, the Rockies, they fired Bud Black, Mike Redmond, which is definitely needed. Now, I think we can all agree that it's not going to turn the franchise around by any means. But I think it is a good step. But unfortunately, there's still that person at the top who will he might say the right things, but he does not care. He made some comments just recently. The Rockies posted it on their social media. But I mean, this is a good thing for the Rockies, for Rockies fans, especially for the younger players that were not getting their playing time. And of course, Adam, you can allude to that. But Warren Schaefer will be the Rockies interim manager moving forward, probably for the rest of the year. I think that is a great choice, or the best choice as of right now, given to where the Rockies are at with the young roster that they have. Because Warren Schaefer, again, we have mentioned this before on the podcast. Warren Schaefer was once a Rockies prospect, went as high as, I believe, AA Hartford, retired, and then became a part of the Rockies coaching staff in the minor leagues with the Isotopes and was the manager for them for a couple of years. So I think this is the right move here, of course, given the Rockies where they're at right now, 7-33, which is the worst start, I think, historically in Major League Baseball history since like 1902, whatever that stat came out was. But guys, what do you think? I'll hand it off to Tom here to have his thoughts here.
Well, came as a bit of a surprise that it actually happened. I think previously when Adam and I did an episode by ourselves, I thought Adam was more in the faith that it was going to happen sooner rather than later. I thought maybe they would wait till the end of the season or at least the All-Star break. But as we were talking in the pre-show meeting, I personally believe they made this decision before this weekend homestand began. I think, Steven, after you came home from the doubleheader, I think that was basically the first layer of the onion to peel back the stink and the stench of it.
Yeah.
And then I think yesterday's loss of 21-0, which is basically a football score. We lost by 3 touchdowns. I think that was the straw that finally broke the camel's back. That was the final layer of the onion. As far as Bud goes, I wish him well. Ironically, he now has officially 9-ish seasons with both the teams he's managed, the Padres and the Rockies. However, when he was fired from the Padres job, he made it 65 games into the season. This kind of thing harkens back to last season when Pedro Grifol was let go by the White Sox just before they had the worst record in Major League Baseball history, but that he was fired after the 21-game losing streak, and the Rockies have just been so atrocious that I mean, what with the writings on the wall here? I mean, what more can we have to say? I mean,
yeah.
And I was thinking about this yesterday when I was talking with my wife. It's crazy that the White Sox, I'm just pandering a little bit here real quick. They were 11-29 as of yesterday. Last year, when they were 40 games in, they were 12-28. And just looking at things clearly, the Rockies have a worse record than the White Sox, and the Pirates and the Marlins are just ahead of the White Sox by about a game and a half a game. So it's crazy to me that there's 4 teams right now that have it at least on track to possibly finish around last year's worst record. Again, different conversation, but back to Bud Black. I wish him well. Thank you so much for the series, but this was a change that needed to happen.
Yeah, that doubleheader that I went to was just it goes to show you that the Tigers are doing it right. The Rockies are doing everything completely wrong. And this is a young Tigers roster. They had called up somebody that got his first career hit, I think, in game 2. And the Rockies, there were so many times in game 2 where I was just like, I was ready, and I actually didn't stay for the entirety of game 2. I had had enough. I I got up and walked out. That's literally what I did. I was like, "This is so bad." Fortunately, again, I was with my mom. She was there. That was her first Rockies game, so that was for mom. But and I feel bad for her because she had to go to such horrible games that day. But she had fun. But yeah, man, it just when I saw the games on Thursday, it just felt like the Rockies, they didn't know how to hit the baseball. They didn't know how to play defense. Um, there was a couple nice plays by Mickey Moniak, who made a catch literally like 10 feet in front of me down the right field line. I'm curious to see if anybody that was watching those games saw me on their TVs or their monitors. But yeah, it just the Rockies, yeah, again, they haven't played good baseball, and so I want to hand it off to Adam because, of course, I've been waiting for this. He's been waiting for this day for a long time. And as I put out in our group chat, despite the Nuggets losing tonight, Adam was doing cartwheels in his house today.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it that way quite. Just the Nuggets game PO'd. I'm just so upset about that game. But yeah, Bud Black, I mean, the numbers are the numbers, right? 365 and 543 since their last winning season, which was in 2018. I mean, he's had 4 winning seasons in his entire career. I don't understand like what the appeal has been. We've seen statistical data that proves that the offense has gotten worse after his arrival at both destinations, and that probably has a lot to do with the inability or the whatever the word is that I want to use here. He just doesn't want to use young players. He doesn't want to develop. He has no interest in that. He wants his professional at bats, and it ultimately buried him, in my opinion. I think had the Rockies been in this position, 6-33, whatever, 10-27, whatever you want to call it, if they had been in that position playing just the young players, he probably would still have a job, in my opinion. Because it's like, hey, this is our direction. We're going to play these guys. We're going to develop them this year. It's probably going to be a little bit rocky, but hey, this is at least a plan, and we can get the fans on board and stuff like that. But this guy, he wanted to play Kyle Farmer every day. Alan Trejo has not been out of the lineup once since he got here, which is absolutely ridiculous because no other team in the league even wants that guy. So, like, he made his own bed, and now he's going to sleep in it, and I don't think he'll ever manage in Major League Baseball again. The game has passed him by. It's just, it was just atrocious. The Rockies, I think they may be a bad team, but they are playing below their means for sure. They are not a 6-33 team, in my opinion. They're just not. Especially if you allow these players to develop and play some more. If Zach Veen can get a little bit more than 30 at bats and before getting sent down, that would be nice. If Amador could play every day, that would be great. These are the guys that we're going to go out to Coors Field to see. I don't want to see, and I've told you guys this in the pregame meeting, Kyle Farmer doesn't need to be here. Nick Martini doesn't need to be here. Alan Trejo does not need to be. These guys don't need to be here for any reason whatsoever. Okay, so the Rockies can be like, oh, professional at bat. These guys have an OPS below 500, 600. Like, if you're going to keep a veteran around, he better produce. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just been ridiculous all season long. So I'm glad he's gone, and that's just how it is. It's a results-based business. And for the last 7 years, he has given us absolutely zero results. He's given us no reason to believe that he would develop players that are at the beginning of their career. He's given us no belief to think that the pitching is going to improve under him, which was his thing, right? He was a pitcher and then a pitching coach. So, like, it's not a personal thing. Like, I'm sure he's a nice guy, whatever, but
not a good manager. Yeah.
He's not a good manager, and I'm really glad that he's gone. So, Warren Schaefer, it's your time to shine, dude. You're 40 years old. Yep. You're our hope that is that you're going to play the young players and help develop these guys. I really hope that he didn't learn, much of anything from Bud Black. I hope he doesn't write the same lineup. I hope he doesn't play Trejo. I hope he doesn't, stick with his Martini situation. We're going to see, but I'm not going to say anything about Schaefer until we actually see, what he does, because I think that's fair. But let's also understand too that Schaefer's walking into a tough situation. Like I said, they're probably not a 6-33 team. They're maybe more of like a 12-win team, in my opinion. Still bad, but I just don't. I think that this could put some life into the Rockies. I think it did today. To Tom's point, before the podcast here.
Yeah.
I think it's just a good thing for the Rockies, but let's get one thing straight. This is only one of 10 issues that the Rockies have to fix, right? We still have the analytics issue. We still have the scouting issue, the player development issue, and of course, the number one issue, ownership, right? And Bill Schmidt's comments this week are just absolutely – just read the room, man. Like, for once, I would love to see the Rockies show some humility and take accountability for what's happened. And they absolutely refuse to do it every single time. Well, we just need to get a couple guys back and we'll be fine. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude?
Didn't he put his back behind Bud Black, like say we would support him, and like just the next day they fire him?
Yeah.
Well, that was just GM speak for just kind of just. I guess you could say that was just typical PR playbook right there. But the one thing I would fire back from when he said, "Oh, the guys in the locker room are working hard. They're playing hard every day. They're doing the right things." That I don't doubt. But my question to him is, what are you personally doing to make this team better? You are the GM. It's your job to put the asses in uniform. You're the one who puts the players on the field. What are you, Bill Schmidt, doing to make this team better? Not necessarily this year, but next year and the year after that and after that and after that. Because, we're waiting for results here. I mean, as Adam pointed out, 18 was my math is wrong. Almost 7 years ago here. What have you done for me then? Since then?
Yeah.
Small rant over.
And the thing with you're good. Go ahead, Steven.
Oh yeah, a comment came out from Dave Roberts, who is the Dodgers manager, who is a good friend of Buddy Black. Just came out and said, "I'm bummed. I'm disappointed. I don't think Casey Stengel could change the outcome of that ball club, and that's not the manager's fault." And that was said by Dave.
Coming from the guy who can't manage his way out of a paper bag, but have been handed an all-star roster. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Dave Roberts. I mean, it wouldn't be a good friend of him to speak against Bud Black. I mean, he does have a point. Yeah, like you do talk about the ownership, but it's a messy situation. But anyways, yeah, I agree with Bryce. Just a little issue. GM and owner are the huge issues. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we appreciate you, Bryce.
Can we address that comment about Clint Hurdle becoming the president of baseball operations? Because no.
Yeah. He's a good
the
scout.
Nepotism in this organization has to stop.
Same thing with Bill Schmidt.
Has to stop.
Yeah. Same thing with like Bill Schmidt and Clint Hurdle are excellent scouts. Leave them at scouting. And then we got Keith. He said, "I wanted to believe in Bill Schmidt. I began to lose a little bit of faith when he took Charlie Condon over Jack Caglione." I'm not there yet to the point where, hey, Charlie Condon, he's a bust. I mean, he's barely played any pro ball, but he has, had that injury. I don't think he's playing yet, but Jack Caglione, man, he's tearing the cover off the ball for the Royals. But again, you look at the Rockies AAA team, again, you don't know. You never know. So I still have confidence in Condon. I mean, this is a Golden Spikes winner. I mean, you're talking about a player that everybody in baseball wanted in the draft, and the Rockies took him at 3 last year. So I'm not giving up hope yet for Condon, but yeah, I mean, the Rockies could have definitely used a guy like Jack Caglione, because Michael Toglia, man, I mean, Jack Caglione could definitely be a good first baseman for the Rockies, because Michael Toglia, man, I know he's been hitting home runs recently, but his defense has been like today. He threw a ball that he should have never thrown into the outfield. It was just horrible. But yeah, man, it's just there are things I do like about Bill Schmidt, that he's a good draft and develop kind of guy, where he scouted Charlie Condon, Chris Bryant when he was a draft prospect before he got drafted by the Cubs. But Bill Schmidt, not a good GM record.
Can we prove that Jack Caglione would be Jack Caglione with the Rockies organization now?
Exactly.
No,
Yeah. The
we
Rockies
can't.
would not develop him correctly. They'd probably make him a bad player.
Or not to mention, he may be hitting well now, but let's say he makes it to the majors, no guarantee he's going to be a stud or an elite player.
None.
So
Yeah,
none at all.
So we have to wait and see how first of all, how his minor league career plays out, and then if he does make the majors, then we can then we can compare.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same thing with Condon. Excuse me. We'll see. It's too early to evaluate prospects when they're only 2 months into pro ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, guys, if you have any comments, leave them down below and we'll try to answer them as best as we can. But as we begin to wrap up this emergency podcast, we're going to kind of make it a little bit of an announcement. We kind of mentioned this before we started tonight. So Rockies recaps, you guys might have been wondering what are happening to those because we didn't do a Tigers recap, which is kind of a good thing, and a Padres recap. We're going to be putting Rockies recaps on hold for the time being. And I know you guys really like those episodes, but we do apologize about that. But given where the team is at right now and the Rockies are not winning much, we're going to be putting that on hold until we see better baseball from the Rockies. It's not because we're boycotting, it's just because, who wants to talk about a team that's 7-33, right? And we keep saying the things over and over again every single recap. You guys get it. And so we're kind of putting that on hold. And this is a tough decision, but again, we're not getting rid of it. We're hoping that we'll be back with Rockies recaps eventually, but also give us a break because all three of us, we have jobs, we're busy, and we're trying to run 5280 media at the same time. So we're still here. We're still doing Instagram. We're still doing Twitter. So go follow us on that if you want some more Rockies content. But in the meantime, hope you guys understand. We're just kind of putting that on hold. If you guys have any ideas, any content that you would like to see, let us know. But if we don't have any other questions, I think that's going to wrap it up. Again, huge shout out to you guys. We're still killing it over on Instagram, despite the Rockies record and how bad we are. You guys are killing it. So we love you guys. We support you. And we're glad that you guys support us over here at Rockies Now. We want to thank Keith, Patrick. I didn't see this comment here from Patrick. Smith is doing his best British impression. Well, he hasn't traded a star player yet, but he might. Hopefully they don't. But please not.
Do we have one?
That's the question. Yeah.
I mean, Doyle is good. Is a good player.
Yeah.
But would we call him a star right now? Probably not.
No.
If they trade him away, would people be upset? Probably.
Oh, yeah.
I would be furious, but I don't know. Just the Rockies. I saw one quick thing before we go. I saw somebody make a comment that said, "Oh, let's bring back Jim Tracy," and I'm like,
no.
This is the kind of thinking that gets the Rockies where they are. This is why we're the Rockies.
Yeah.
No Clint Hurdle, no Jim Tracy, nobody inside of this organization unless it's a minor league coach. Stop it.
Yeah.
And I kind of hope that the Rockies just continue to be historically awful because maybe then Monfort will be like, you know what? I can't. I'm incapable of doing this. I got to sell this team. I can't do anything.
I want to say it was a while ago. He made a comment that he's thought about firing himself. That's a good idea, Dick.
Yeah, great idea. We fully support.
We're behind you on that, Dick. That's the only thing we support you.
Keith, to address this, no, Doyle is not in a contract year. He's under team control for at least 3 more years.
Yeah, 3 more.
He hasn't even reached arbitration yet. So,
yeah.
And to be honest with the managerial search this offseason, Warren Schaefer will be a candidate. I do believe they will interview him. But I think Adam, it was one of us when I was on when the two of us were together. I would do a widespread search. I think, Adam, you brought this up. Talk to guys from the Brewers, the Guardians, the Rays. Even if there's someone in the Yankees or the Red Sox, purge Craig Breslow, step up in Boston. There's plenty. Get as many, not just candidates, but as ideas as you can. Because like I said, this team is so behind in terms of evaluations, how you develop players. Get as many as you can. As wide a search. Even if it's 30 candidates, do as wide a spread of search.
Well, and they need to do that with the GM, and they need to hire a president of baseball operations because until they have that, it's just going to be Monfort hiring his friends and his friends making terrible, terrible decisions as GM.
Yeah. I think the last president of baseball operations was McGregor.
It was Kelly.
Right? Yeah, Kelly.
Yeah, and when he passed away, Monfort was
That
like,
changed that changed everything. That like
oh yeah,
literally that was the darkest day in Rockies history in my mind, other than the World Series game.
Yeah, because we were on the upward trajectory.
Yeah.
I don't know how you look back at that and don't understand, hey, when we had a president of baseball operations, things were better.
Yeah. Listen, I get like they wanted to respect McGregor Square, but it's just like that's kind of putting a black eye on his name if the team's so bad, because I guarantee you, Kelly McGregor is rolling in his grave right now with the way the Rockies are. So it's unfortunate. But
yeah, I mean they have the McGregor Square. That's in his honor. You know, we don't need to keep need to keep the position open in his honor. No. That's just wildly insane. But
yeah. To answer Keith's question, will there be a pre-draft podcast? We're going to try and do that. Of course, as you guys remember last year, we went live for the draft. And we were live for about an hour. We're going to do that again this year. But for pre-draft, we might do that. If not, we're just going to do like a prediction post of who the Rockies will pick at number 4. That won't come until probably the next month, because the draft is still a couple months away in July. So, but yeah, if we do one, we'll definitely let you guys know. So yeah, and then we have one from Jackson. Hello, Jackson. Welcome to the show. I thought we would promote Pedro Lopez to manager before I saw the Warren Schaefer thing.
He should be a candidate.
Yeah, he's definitely a candidate. I didn't think of that. He's currently the manager for the Isotopes currently. But I think the obvious answer was Warren Schaefer. I think that was written on the window, in my opinion, because, again, I mentioned it many times. Warren Schaefer just feels like a good fit, and I think he fits it perfectly so far.
Yep.
So far.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah. Ethan says, what's funny about this whole thing is I emailed Mumford yesterday because I was mad about that game yesterday, and he fired Bud Black today. Hey, Ethan, congratulations. You're a prophet.
Well, Bud Black was unable to make halftime adjustments, and we just couldn't get into the red zone to get, the 3 touchdowns that the Padres scored.
Yeah. Oh, man. Anyways, that's the episode. So again, Bud Black fired. We got a new manager, interim manager. So Warren Schaefer, let's do your thing, man. Let's see what you can do. Patrick, watch out for an article drop. So that will be dropping tomorrow morning on Monday. So stay tuned to our social medias when we will hand out the link to you guys to read that article. It's a pretty decent one. It's a really good one. It's recapping over the month of April. Even though it's a little bit depressing looking at the Rockies record in April, is still a pretty good article. So go check that out. Also, and thank you, Keith. We appreciate you. We have Sell the Team merch on our merch shop. So if you want to get some t-shirts, that's available, folks. And we've actually gotten contacted by a couple people that already want some. So that's great. So
we'll get thrown out of Coors for wearing
I'm glad I did it now instead of doing it before I went to the game on Thursday. So I would have worn it, but
I'll wear it on our next podcast.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna probably buy one once I get my paycheck this week. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for coming on. Keith, Jackson, Ethan, Bryce, Rhino, thanks for coming in. Patrick, you guys are awesome. We'll talk to you guys next time on the podcast, whenever that is. We'll let you guys know. Again, we apologize about the Rockies recaps. Again, that is not completely going away. We're just putting that on hold. We hope that you guys understand. We love you guys, and we love your guys' support. We'll talk to you all next time. And as always, go Rockies.